The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. With your hosts, Joe Bond.
You're awful.
And AJ Applegarth.
It's Sin Shu Chu. It's a mouthful.
All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, Mr. AJ Applegarth. What is up, man?
Too much pollen. That is what is up. I sound like garbage, and I apologize in advance for that for our listeners. The only good thing to come of this is that somehow my range in in-car singing has gotten better. I don't get it, but
that's false.
No, it is. Maybe it's just because I just can't hear anything.
What do you?
So it sounds
like Phoebe from Friends? Like when she got sick, she sounded better or whatever. Like the bullshit.
Yeah,
no way.
I mean, it's a thing. All right, it is a thing.
Okay.
You know, if you need me to bust out some Smelly Cat in a little bit, maybe I will.
Good God, no. I regret saying anything immediately now.
Yeah.
As you should. All right, man. Before we get into it, we got a good show tonight. We're going to talk about some of these 2021 early breakout candidates. Players that are breaking out already in our first couple months of the season. We're going to dive into the numbers a little bit more and see if we think that this could continue the rest of the season or if we kind of see a trail off happening and that kind of stuff. So before we continue, though, just want to remind everybody watching and listening to hit that subscribe button, that like button, follow us wherever you are watching and listening. We appreciate the support. And so, you know what? Screw it. Let's do beer of the week first, and then I got some things I need to say. So,
beer.
All right, man. What you got?
Well, I'm finishing my margarita from dinner, and
nice. Picked up some takeout Mexican food. Good stuff, man.
Yes. Hashtag awesome. I meant to say shout out, not hashtag. I don't know. Whatever. Allergies, bro. Going all local tonight, though. We've got Riviera Maya for the margarita. We got some Bog Turtle Brewery IPA. I don't even know. Pine OG is I believe what it is. I probably butchered that, so I apologize in advance. Bog Turtle again. Allergies. I don't think I'll finish the whole thing, but we'll see.
I would.
I don't know.
You might.
I don't know.
I might be talking to myself at the end, but that's okay. So I'm drinking an Aslan Beer Company. It's actually a collaboration with Front Royal Brewing, which I had honestly never heard of before I bought this beer. But it's a triple IPA, 11%. So if I'm talking at the end, it might not sound very good either. It's extra, and that's for all the extra injuries we've had. Fuck all the injuries, dude. That's where I'm going with this, by the way.
Okay. Well, I guess I should pour myself.
Just sit back, man, and enjoy.
Drink.
So I'm in a mood. So first off, I woke up at 7:30 in the morning to my son walking in my room, and I've trained him for months now not to wake up before 8 o'clock. School day, don't need to get up, to stay in your room until 8 o'clock is 8. And he'd be good. The last 3 days, he's been coming in my room 7:20, 7:30, waking my ass up. And I'm just like, dude, go away. So today he finally leaves my room, but he goes into his sister's room. And 5 minutes later, I hear, "Oh my God, Dad, Lainey's vomiting." And I was like, Lainey's our dog. So they let Lainey into the room, and Lainey got sick all over her white shag carpet. I'm not even kidding you. That's what we have in her room. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, so I'm just like, oh, this is not the wake up I needed. I was up to 1:30 in the morning finishing the rest of the season rankings. I'm tired. I needed the extra 30 minutes of sleep and not to wake up to that noise. So then I come downstairs to let Lainey out and grab some cleaning supplies to find 4 or 5 little pockets of vomit all over the basement floor. I'm like, this is not how I wanted to start my Thursday at all. Not even close. So yeah, long story short, it's been a shitty day as far as that goes. And I've been dealing with the sick dog all day, so not fun. And then speaking of the rest of the season rankings, I'm doing them last night, and I'll admit I've been kind of occupied with the kids for the last couple of days. I knew some injuries had happened. I knew like a couple of my guys got like banged up on my teams, but I didn't know they had actually gotten like officially put on the IL and that kind of stuff. And I'm doing the rest of the season rankings update last night to where if you guys read it on the site, fantasysixpack.net, I put a recent injury update list on that rankings article every week, and I'm going through the update list and I'm going, I own that guy, I own that guy, I own that guy, I own literally like 6 of the 15 players on that list I own, all on the same team. It's a 40-man dynasty roster team. I already had like 10-12 injuries on that team. I am now up to 17 IL spots, 17 IL players, 5 IL spots on that team, but I can't drop any of them. It's like Franmil Reyes, Marcell Ozuna, it's Austin Hayes, it's Luke Voigt, and I'm like, what do I do with this team? It's just such a disaster. I'm like quietly crying inside while I'm writing this article last night. I'm like, I needed a beer. I opened up a beer at 12:30 at night. I was like, I just need to fucking drink. I was like, this sucks. It was bad, man. Yeah. So I've had a day, man. I'm not happy. I'm not in a good mood. So hopefully a little bit of this, a little bit of talking some baseball will help out. But yeah,
it sounds like you just were talking baseball and it did not go so well.
No, not with the injury talk. Unfortunately, we've got that.
That will be a little different. But yeah, so what happened at like 9:30, 10:30? What was the rest of your day? I mean, I feel like
last night,
just everything, all of it. I mean,
all of it. You want me to go to my whole day? No, it was dealing with screaming kids and dealing with dogs vomiting and having to go outside every 20 minutes. And I'm not kidding you on that. Even though she did literally nothing outside, she just goes outside and like wanders around because she doesn't feel good. So that's been my day. Yeah, it's been pretty awesome. So,
Okay.
Anyway, man, good times indeed, right? All right, man, let's jump into this. And again, like I said before, we're gonna get into some of these players who are having early season breakouts in 2021, guys that maybe we expected it from, maybe not to this level, and definitely some guys that we did not expect it from at all. And I'm gonna start immediately with Jesse Winker, Cincinnati Reds. And I, this was a guy that we talked about a couple weeks ago, honestly. And, I mentioned that one trade in the Dynasty League where the guy was trying to give up Trevor Bauer and he was going to get Jesse Winkler and like, I think it was Bassett from Oakland. And I immediately told the guy, like, no, you can't do that trade. Like, first off, at the Dynasty head-to-head points league, pitching is like premier in that style format. It always is, right? My thought process also behind it was, Winker is just playing out of his mind right now, and he sort of is. But I now that he's not even better since then, which is like, oh god, now I kind of feel bad. But his numbers are, extraordinarily good. He's got already more home runs than last year in less games, more RBI, more runs. His batting average is 346. I mean, incredible numbers. Like one of the top fantasy players of the year so far. Do I think he can continue this breakout? To some degree, yes. I think the batting average is going to drop. I don't think he's going to be almost a 350 hitter the rest of the year. His expected batting average is around, right around 300. Maybe 310, but his BABIP is extremely high too, which kind of tells you that the average is going to come down. His BABIP is around 380. Slugging and everything is high, and that's to be expected with the rest of those numbers is where they are. The reasons why I like him to be able to continue this, right, is that he's hitting the ball hard, and when he actually like hits a fly ball, like his home run to fly ball ratio is actually lower than it was last year, but he's hitting way more fly balls than he ever has before. And so I think the power could continue because he's actually hitting more balls into the air, and he's always had a powerful swing. His exit velocity is always, around, it's been around 92 for the last couple of years. It was hovering around 90 before that. So his barrel rate was high last year. It still is this year. So I think he could continue this breakout. Will he drop off the pace he's on now? Probably. But I think he's somebody who you can expect to continue to be very good for you in fantasy baseball.
Yeah, I think so. And it's, we, like you said, we talked about him before, and just having all of the stats in front of us now, it is a little easier to make more of a decision on it. I do think there's room for regression, obviously, but he's someone that I wouldn't be upset about, trying to target and seeing what you could get. But again, with as crazy as he's playing right now, people are going to want the world for it, and it's still Jesse Winker. So, the next guy we got here is Adolis Garcia, and this one was pretty interesting to see. Been in the league for a little while now, and just hasn't really done anything like this. He's
been a minor league player for the most part. He's had a couple small stints in the majors, mostly with St. Louis, and then last year, 3 games. So it doesn't really count. But he's been a minor league player, and a very good one.
Honestly, like looking at his stats there. I mean, the thing that jumps out to me first of all is the stolen bases, because you just don't really go after steals anymore. It's always something, at least for me, that I feel like I'm just chasing later on in drafts or on the waiver wire at some point. It's one of the most puntable categories, but all of his steals were in AAA in 18 and 19. He didn't have anything in the majors until this year. He's got 5, so maybe now he's finally getting the opportunity. And again, it's much smaller sample size from what we've seen in MLB. So that, I think, is a good sign to see that he's got 5 already. And I think that's going to continue. Looking at his K percentage is way down compared to everything else that he's had. Aside from his first year in AAA was his lowest at 23. He's hovering around 28 now, but I think that's something that's going to help him out if he can keep the strikeout percentage down, and still be managing to get on base at a nice clip. That's going to give him the opportunities for those steals as well. So
the thing that struck me about him, and he was a guy that I don't think anybody was really paying attention to him, right? I mean, there's coming into the season, a 28-year-old guy who really hasn't played any in the majors. So these are those guys that kind of go flying under the radar, and this guy did big time. But he's killing it. I think Jeff before the show was just mentioning on Fantasy Pros, they do their player rater, and Garcia's ranked 4th for the season. Wow. I mean, just out of this world production from this guy right now. I mean, it sort of seems like there's gonna be some regression from this guy, but I mean, he had good minor league stats, so he finish as a 30 home run guy? It seems like it's possible. It's the ball. The ball's not flying out of the park like it did in years past, but I mean, some of these guys are still able to figure things out. Winker and Garcia. It's just he looks for real. Honestly, he does. His WRC plus is crazy high, man, 157. So it's just, his exit velocity is actually higher than Winker's. He's at 93.1. So launch angle is 15. It's the StatCast numbers for him are just crazy high. I mean, just if you want to compare Winker and Garcia together, right? A barrel rate's 19%. Winker's at 14.5. Both still top notch. So it's just they're both just smashing the ball right now. And I mean, I think for Garcia, because we don't have a lot of history to say, oh, you know, he can't continue this pace. This is just a fluke couple of months, which you can do for some guys. But until we see him drop off, I just think he's good to go, honestly. Next guy here, Jared Walsh was a guy who I was kind of high on before the season as a late round, first base pick. Sorry. Somebody who had a pretty decent 2020, 9 bombs in 32 games, kind of came on strong, a good batting average, 293, that's higher than what he had in 2019 in about the same amount of time. But, you like to see guys improve like that. No, I don't know if I thought that we were going to see 293 average again, but honestly, we're seeing better. It's 321. His expected batting average is only 270. So yeah, maybe we see it tick down a little bit, but honestly, his expected batting average was 270 last year. So I know his BABIP is 382, kind of the same range as Winker, where when you see BABIPs that high, and I know they're hitting the ball hard and they're hitting a lot of line drives and stuff like that, and that's why the BABIP is high, because that's what gets you a high BABIP, right? But when you see BABIPs that high, you kind of expect the batting average to drop a little bit, just because it's just natural. But this guy's hitting the ball hard. I've seen a few Angels games late at night on MLB channel, and every time he gets at the bat, man, it's just a good at bat. The thing that concerns me is the power with him, honestly. And this is why I don't know if the true breakout's really going to happen. Yeah, sure, it's a breakout for Jared Walsh range, but like a true breakout for fantasy, like I don't know if we're going to get like a 30 home run season out of him. I don't know if we're going to get like a 90 RBI season out of him type of thing. For one, the offense for the Angels, this isn't there to maybe get him those RBI, especially with Trout out for a little while. That's gonna be bad. His hard hit rates, good. It's still good. It's 34%. But, it's not up there with those top echelon guys where those are the guys you expect to hit 30, 35, right? And his, and I'm trying to find it because I had it earlier. His home run to fly ball rate is below the 30 mark, which is where you expect a lot of those like top home run guys to be. That's my only concern with him, is maybe the power drops off slightly, but it's not up there with, Garcia, who's like killing it. So, maybe if you're expecting 25 from him, then you might be able to get that this year.
Yeah. I honestly, I haven't really looked too much at Walsh. Again, because he's probably being an Angel and West Coast. I don't see a lot of their games.
East Coast bias. Jeez,
yeah,
man.
Totally. West Coast is not the best coast. So, but yeah, I do think there's plenty of telling stats there that just show, maybe he's at his peak right now. And I agree. I don't know if he's going to be able to maintain. I mean, he's already got more homers than he did last year. Granted, obviously only played in 32 games to the 46 this year, and it's only 2 more homers. So, I mean, could he get to 20? Sure. I think that's well within reach. Obviously, it only needs 9 more, but the RBIs, yeah, I think they're going to tail off. And
it's him and Ohtani right now, man.
Yeah, basically.
And Justin Upton every 4 games hitting a home run, because that's all he can do anymore.
Yeah, he's got like
if that
0.00629er average, and it's just all
got a 9er. That's good. All right.
Yeah, he's got a 9er in there. So the next guy we got here is Nate Lowe, another Texas guy. Him and Garcia are making that offense go. I mean, I think we talked about it last week, that we were talking about how they're still one of the mid-range offenses. Continue to be no hit.
Yes.
So yeah, you got to have something going right for that to actually be a thing. I mean, his BABIP's a little high compared to his average. I mean, almost 100 points over. So I definitely think that that's going to come down. He is batting a little above his X batting average expected, but you know, that's within range. I think that he could potentially see a little bit of a rise, but I think he'll probably stick around the 260s, maybe 270s if things start going his way a little bit. But I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, his OBP is pretty nice though. 358.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his ground ball to fly ball is what scares me a little bit because he's at almost 2. So if he's not hitting enough in the air, then he's not going to be getting those power numbers, not going to be getting the home runs, and he's just going to be grounding out or going into double plays. So that to me is a scary sight right there.
Yeah. I put him on here because obviously he had that crazy run in the beginning of the season where he had an RBI in every game. I forget for how many games in a row. And obviously he's trailed off from that.
Yeah.
And so he was kind of a super early breakout candidate, if you're asking me, but he's still been solid. I mean, 28 RBI is still nothing to sneeze at. It's not Jared Walsh numbers, you know, it's not a Garcia numbers, but you know, it's right there with Winker. Yeah. So
strikeouts I think, are a little high for me too.
Yeah, that's a concern for me there too. I mean, strikeouts for everybody are high. I mean, Garcia is there. Yeah, Walsh is right there, 24. I mean, all these guys. As long as you're not, what's his name for Milwaukee, who finally got called back up here. As long as you're not almost hovering around 40 as a kind of a contact hitter, like not working, guys. Then I think you can make that work. To me, with him, there's just nothing really calling out to me saying that he's going to be able to, you know, really fully break out. I think we're going to see a nice season from him. Texas can, you know, in the past has brought some offensive, you know, numbers to fantasy. You know, the new ballpark is still kind of yet to be seen what it really is. We got a short season with it last year. And it was, you know, late summer. And so it was hard to tell really what that ballpark is going to be when it's, you know, the middle of June, early July, you know, kind of thing. And these players are really in the full swing of things, how that ballpark's really going to play for fantasy output. But, you know, so I think we're going to get some good performances from him, and it's going to be an overall good season. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see a little more, you know, fly balls out of him. His ground ball to fly ball rate's pretty skewed toward ground balls here. So if you're looking for for power from him, you're not likely to get it the way that you're hoping.
Look elsewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. So, anyway, trying to type something here. But yeah, next guy up is, I mean, like, did we all think he was going to be a good player? Absolutely. Did we all think he was going to be this good of a player? Hell no. Shohei Ohtani. We all went like, we don't even care about the pitching stats. Guess what? Guess what, guys? He's one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. You know, he's maybe the win-loss record isn't there, but it's not his fault at all. K per 9 rate's 13.3. He walks a fair number of guys, but nothing crazy. His ERA is sitting at 2.37. Now, of course, his expected ERA is 3.24. You know, his FIP is something like that, right around the same range. So, yeah, do we expect the ERA to rise? Of course, by those numbers. again though, he's limiting some hard contact to some degree here. So I don't know. To me, like, and then when you top off the fact that he's doing that pitching with what he's doing hitting, he's already got 15 bombs. He's been like in the lead for home runs or like in second the entire season. It feels like 38 RBI. He's batting almost 270. His expected batting average is like right in line with it. Like there's nothing. His BABIP isn't like crazy high to where you're going like, oh, well, the batting average is going to fall. Like it's 300. It's 307. Like it's basically right there where you expect a BABIP to be for a 270 guy. Like that's it.
Yeah.
For the guys that are batting like 340, when they have BABIPs of like almost 400, you're going, well, okay. It's probably coming down. Those are both are a little extreme at this point. But he's crushing the ball. His hard hit contact rate is 41%. His barrel rate is 23%. That is extraordinarily good, by the way. 23% is like, yeah. I mean, we just talked about Garcia and Winker having 19 and 14%. He's got 23. He makes contact with the ball, it's gone. Like, he is out of this world good right now. And I don't know how you don't get this guy the MVP. Like, with what he's doing on both sides of the ball, like, it's crazy. And I just wonder, like, it's weird because, like, in fantasy leagues, depending on what site you're on with him, like, you use him different ways, right? Some leagues you can interchange him. Sometimes he's only a hitter. Sometimes he's only a pitcher. I know Fantrax is one of the ones where you can switch him.
Yep.
I think Yahoo you have to pick, right? And so does ESPN. ESPN makes you pick.
ESPN, you can have him. He's eligible for both in ESPN.
Right, but but like the days he pitches, you don't get his hitting stats, which is crazy. Because that was the thing. I forget who we had on that show for the AL West preview show. It was, well, on the days that you can swap him in, like on those leagues where you can swap him in from pitcher to hitter, right? That's fine, because on the day he pitches, he's not going to hit. He's batting like leadoff or second the days he pitches. I've never seen this before. This is absolutely crazy. It's fun to watch, man. It really is. I just wonder, like, what do you think? Like, can he keep this pace up doing both sides of, both sides of things?
Yeah, I think he might be able to. And by
the way, I forgot to mention he's also got 6 stolen bases. Okay, he's also fast.
Yeah,
like just a crazy athlete, man.
I mean, it's scary because you look at some of the other players that have come over, from the Japanese league, and to me, Ichiro is the one that stands out the most because he's been the longest tenured, but he didn't pitch. He played outfield. Like, he wasn't this two-way player. Like, you just don't see that in baseball. It's it's not pee-wee football. And old school football, Chuck Bednarik was one of the best two-way players that there ever was. It's just an anomaly, a complete anomaly to see this and to see how much success he's having on both sides. I mean, I was trying to pull something out here. I mean, his slugging percentage is at 632. I mean, it's basically almost double his on base percentage. So when he is getting on base, it's because he's just crushing the ball.
Yeah.
And it's, the OBP is not super high.
Oh, it's 320. He doesn't walk.
That's what I mean.
He's not walking a lot.
No, he's either striking out or crushing the ball.
I'm going to guess with Trout out for a while, they're going to walk him a lot more because he drives that offense. I don't see how people pitch to him right now with the way he's performing.
So
yeah,
to 56 strikeouts. So that I can definitely see coming in. But
that's fine. I mean, it's hovering. It's still under 30. I'm good with that. If you're under
Yeah.
30, you're fine in this league now.
He's-
It's better than us. Better than like half the
close.
players out there.
He's close.
Fine. 29.9.
It's still under. So if that's our bar, it's been set.
Yes, it is.
I mean, his WRC is right there with Garcia's though, 159. So I mean, it's crazy to live in this age where a baseball player can do these things. Sorry, I sound like I'm 75.
I mean, no, it is crazy though. Like we haven't seen it in who knows how many years. I don't even know. And honestly, it's like these guys are such specialty players now. You're so worried about your pitchers. And look, he's got a very, injured past. Like we honestly, for a while there, didn't know if he was ever going to pitch again.
Yeah.
So to see him now come back and dominate the way he's been dominating is just crazy. I mean, he's thrown over 100, 97, stuff like that. Like to do that after coming off a UCL injury, which he opted not to get Tommy John for, just let it rest and heal, is crazy, man. Like, I mean, we're seeing Noah Syndergaard, get Tommy John, and he's already got inflammation in his freaking UCL elbow, and he's going to be out another 6 weeks. Like, it's just crazy, man.
The last thing that I'll say here that I find very hilarious is because we obviously have a ground ball to fly ball on both of these stats. His ground ball, he's pitching nearly 2 ground balls to every fly ball, yet he's hitting, 1 fly ball or less than 1 ground ball for every fly ball that he hits. So it's just like a complete role reversal.
Yeah.
He's making everybody ground out and then just launching the shit out of everything.
He's either striking them out or making them ground out, which is phenomenal. Yeah. Like it's just insane. Like what he's doing to players. And you see these tweets from players and things like that. Just they get put up during the broadcast, and they're just like, I like run home after my game to watch what Ohtani's going to do because it's just amazing. And it's just, he's one of these, these players that we're going to talk about for a long time. Even if this is like the only season he does it, we're going to talk about this season for a long time because it's just extraordinary what he's doing. And it's really fun to watch. I do like every time I see the Angels game on, I'm like, I got to turn this on at least for a couple innings, see what he does because he's going to do something amazing.
It's also funny to see that he's, 1-0.
Yeah,
with as good as he's pitched. I mean, he's
so
only got 6 starts, but still, it's just okay.
I mean, the Angels stink, man. I don't know. It sucks what they're doing with that and ruining Mike Trout's career. Yeah. Although he's trying to do it himself, getting injured every year for 4 weeks.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on.
Move on here, man, to your boy
Carlos Rodon. I mean, he was such a highly touted prospect coming out. And I bought into the hype, hard. I fell head over feet Alanis Morissette for Rodon when he came out. And it was like, I mean, you couldn't even talk me out of it. I'm pretty sure I picked him first in my rookie draft for the dynasty league that I used to be in because I was just that on board. And then I started to grow a rather large disdain for Carlos Rodon because he was not there. He was not there. The hype was way up off of the screen, and the actual play was you can't even see. But if I was a dwarf, I'd be standing on my own tripod. Lots of reasons. Injuries plagued him for a while. Just I don't know. I don't know what got into him early on, but he just didn't have it. He didn't have anything good to show in the MLB. I mean, he started 20 games in 18 and finished with a near 7 ERA.
He was abysmal, man.
In 20 games.
I was ready to throw.
Okay, you know what? everybody's going to have an off, couple of games, whatever, and maybe get the shit knocked out of them, Okay, fine.
With the talent he had,
What
to
the
see
hell
him
was
get to
that?
that level was like, I was like, okay,
I mean,
peace. I was out. I was done. And then I had all the injuries the next 2 years, which obviously, like, we have those stats. I pulled them because that's, those were the next couple of seasons is all we had.
and I mean, they were nothing because it was
not only were they injury
was.
plagued, they were worse.
Yeah,
like
if you
it just got
them
actually
out,
worse. Like it was bad, man. And so everybody wrote him off this year, and he went undrafted.
Not by me. I took him in my one league and reaping the benefits right now because
wow, man,
I was just like, you know what, I gotta bring the love back.
So all right, so let me ask you. So let me ask you. So you're obviously a Rodon follower, Rodon fan, I guess, a little bit here. So we're seeing this. So we're seeing his K per 9 rate at 13.08, higher than his career best in 2019, which was only 7 games of 11.9. We're seeing an ERA at 1.27. Of course, xERA is at 2.14, which is still phenomenal.
Yeah.
FIP and xFIP are still great. Sierra is awesome, 2.62. His ground ball to fly ball rate is right down the middle at 1. He's reducing the line drives are at 19, which is actually below league average. Ground ball rate's around 40, which is good. Fly ball rate is around 40, which is pretty solid. Swinging strike rate 16.6. I mean, like, again, that goes right in line with his K per 9. Like, the guy is just phenomenal across the board here. Like, are you expecting this to continue, like, as what you've seen so far? I mean, he's already got a no-hitter this year, so, like, it's obviously helping his stats. But what do we really expect here from him going forward? I mean, I'll save my point for later, not to skew your argument, but
yeah. And I will correct myself there. I did not actually draft him. He went undrafted, but I was
going to say, I
picked him up on April 5th, Monday, April 5th, before.
So after his first start.
Yeah,
probably.
Possibly after the first start, maybe before the first start. I'd have to scroll back and see if I got it.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, but
I mean,
62 strikeouts in 42 innings. That's crazy high. Damn.
He's had a ridiculous increase in the strikeouts. He's only given up 3 homers in all his games. He's pitched less than 6 innings 3 times. Okay. But one of those times was 5 2/3, and he got rocked, by Kansas City a couple weeks ago, actually on your birthday.
Yeah.
But
I don't like Rodon.
I mean, he gave up 2 hits to the Yankees. I mean, his just the amount of hits he's given up, it has to increase. Like, I can't imagine that he's going to be this few hits, in all of his games. I mean, he's got 2 or 3 or less. I mean, really, 2. In 3 games, he's had 3 hits, 5 hits, and 8 hits. I mean, those are the only games that he's given up a lot of hits. Earned runs is 1 or less in every game except for your birthday. Thanks, Marsh. 4 runs. The walks.
Nice random comment to Marsh.
Well,
Marsh is our friend who's a Royals fan, by the way.
Kansas City. Yes.
Yeah, they don't
know. For those
that,
of you who have no idea who Marsh is,
which
he loves Kansas City.
Except for you, me, and Jason, and a couple other people who are friends that probably don't watch anyway.
But
all good.
I mean, he started off 5-0, and since then he's gone, 0-2 in 3 games. So we'll see what happens this week. He did have a bit of an injury that pushed him back. We talked about that last week, I believe. So I don't know if that's still something that's bothering him, and it's just like, hey, my back hurts because I'm carrying things, or whatever. But Lance Lynn's been pretty good. Also dealing with some injuries. Giolito. Honestly, I have no idea how Giolito's doing. Jeff,
he hasn't been nearly as good.
The Giolito
the Giolito people want. Honestly, Lynn and Rodon have been better. So, Giolito's still gonna be fine. He's still gonna. I think he'll figure things out. But yeah, Giolito's been sort of a disappointment.
The big thing here, and that I think we're looking at, is the Ks per walks. It's just an absolute complete turnaround from where he was. I mean, he was at barely 3 was his best in 2019, and that was in 7 games. So it's barely a sample size. He's had 7 games this year, and he's at just over 5. So, he's striking out a shit ton more batters this year. I don't know if that's going to maintain. The one thing that does really scare me is his left on base percentage is almost
pretty high.
90.
Yeah, it's pretty high. But I mean, when you can strike out guys at the rate he's striking them out, that does make sense. And you're going to see you're going to see your Kershaws and guys like that up in that level. It's a little hard to believe. I'm not going to lie. Like it is tough to buy into this after so many years of disappointment with this guy. So. The other thing I always look at here is pitch type, right? When you see a guy improve this much, right? I always look at pitch type. And the one thing I've noticed this year, which is sort of odd, is sort of against the grain, is he's actually reduced his slider rate big time over the last few years. And he's thrown at a curveball, granted 2% of the time, but it's, maybe messing up hitters just that much, but he's throwing his fastball much better. And it's up at 95. He has never hit that speed before. 95. He's been at 93, 91, and those were those injured years.
Yeah.
Now that he's back and healthy, he's hitting 95 on average with his fastball. That's making a ginormous difference, apparently. So, and it's even his slider, even though he's throwing it less, it's at 85, which is a back in 2018, 2017 rate. So he's increased his velocity a little bit here, and he's mixed up his pitch selection just ever so slightly, and I think that is one reason why I might buy into the full breakout with him. I don't. He's going to finish with a less than 2 ERA. Probably not. I mean, like that just doesn't happen. But like, he'll get creamed like once, and it's just going to happen. That's just that's just what happens, right? So, but yeah, I do like Rodon the rest of the way. I kind of kicked myself for not really paying attention early to him and seeing that he was pitching well. Not like I'm bragging, but I had teams that were performing well, and all my pitchers were performing well. So I wasn't paying attention to some of these guys who were breaking out. I could pick up off the waiver wire, and now my teams are sort of suffering because of it. Because the guys that were like breaking out the first couple of weeks that I had drafted late, who you kind of expect to kind of fall off the map, didn't for me, and so I didn't get the Rodons and guys like that. And another guy that I missed out on. In at least one league, but I did get him in ours, was Trevor Rodgers. This guy, I mean, I think it was an injury for me, and I was just like, oh, let me go on the waiver wire. I was like, oh, Trevor Rodgers has been pretty good. Yeah, he has. Let's see here. 1.75 ERA. He's got 70 strikeouts in 56.2 innings. He's 6-2 for the Marlins, so he's got more wins than Ohtani. Which is still unbelievable. That is still unbelievable.
A high majority of pitchers, including relievers,
right?
have a better win total than Ohtani.
Yeah, that's totally nuts, man. His left on percentage is pretty high too. It's up at 84. But again, when you've got these strikeout rates like these guys do, you sort of expect that left on base rate to be pretty high. So is that something I'm concerned about? Maybe, but not as much as you would expect with somebody who's got like a K per 9 rate of like 8, 7, maybe even in the 9s. Because if you can get those punch outs, that's gonna leave your random walk or your single or your double on base a lot more than it would be a guy who can't punch out the next guy, and you're relying on a ground ball out and then by your defense type of thing. So you don't have to rely on your defense to bail you out, or the ground ball to the right guy or the fly ball to the outfield, and hopefully not a home run type of thing. So that doesn't concern me as much when you've got these K rates as high as these guys do. The thing with Rodgers for me is that he got his first action in the majors last year, and he performed pretty well, not nearly as well as this, but he had a little bit of success. His ERA was inflated like crazy, but he still had a high K rate, 12.5. So the signs were there that he could make this happen. I'm just not sure I'm totally buying into it, because his minor league record wasn't really quite at this level either. His xERA is at 3.07. His FIP is at 2.6. His xFIP is at 3.35. Sierra's at 3.5. So I'm expecting a few blow up games from him, if not just like a bad last like 4 months of the season, where like he's gonna have a good ERA through the first couple months here of like less than 2, and then maybe he's gonna have like a 4.5 the rest of the way, and it's gonna balance out to a 3, to where at the end of the year you're gonna go, oh, Trevor Rodgers had a 3 ERA, it was great. Well, maybe not. Like, it's just
look at the whole season.
Yeah, the whole thing here doesn't add up here to me. I love the strikeout rate, but something seems a little off here for me. I'm not sure I'm totally buying into it. His BABIP's pretty low too, which doesn't help things. It's at 270. So you're expecting a little bit more, batted balls in play landing for him than they are. So I don't know. What's your thoughts about Rodgers here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm buying into the full breakout. I mean, I definitely like what he's done so far, and going back to that K per 9 rate, he's got 3 more games under his belt than what he had last year.
Yeah.
And it's a little lower. I mean, he was 12.5 last year in 7 games. I mean, that's pretty stupid. So the fact that he's still hovering just over 11, in 10 games is very solid. So I love the strikeouts. The walks scare me though.
They're not that bad, actually. They're not as bad as some of the pitchers we talked about last week, dude.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
I mean, come on.
I mean,
we're talking about John Gant walking 6.5.
Yeah, Ohtani's at 6.5.
And Anderson was at 4.2. So yeah, so the walk rate
3.5.
It's pretty high. It's not great, but
not great. But depending on what he does with that, if that continues to creep up, and the strikeouts start coming down, people might start getting a little more patient with him, and waiting for their pitches. And then they're just going to start taking balls. So, the left on base, we already talked about. I don't see the ERA staying where it is. I mean, there's just too much disparity between the current 175 and is expected at over 3, just over 3. I do think that he could sit in around maybe 3.5. But I mean, his FIP numbers are pretty good too. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at his minor league stats. I'm going back a little farther than what I had copied into our spreadsheet here.
Yeah.
I mean, his best ERA back in A+ ball 2019, right before he got called up to AA for a handful of games here, it was 2.5. I mean, but that's A+, man. Then you go to Double A, which, you know, Jeff and I were talking before you jumped in the studio here, and you know, Double A is kind of where, and I've had this conversation with Dave Eddy, the Dynasty manager here at Fantasy Six Pack. He you know, he told me like Double A is kind of where you really, you know, judge these players a lot more than anything, right? Double A is where you get your elite talent. A lot of these guys, like the elite talent, will like jump Triple A, which Rodgers did, and just make that leap, right? And granted, it was a different situation last year for some of these guys that took that leap because there was no minor league season in 2020. So you kind of like, if you wanted to see these guys, you had to do it. And injuries played a big part for Miami last year, calling him up. But it was one of those things where, you know, you see the struggles at Double A, you see the struggles at A+ ball, fine, whatever. But like if you're gonna evaluate a guy at all by his numbers in the minor leagues, is Double A, because that's where like the elite talent sits. Triple A is kind of like a buffer between the majors and the minors, right? You get guys that go down, they're you know, on the injury list, they're just players that can't quite make it, but they have nowhere else to go, so they're just gonna sit there in AAA and things like that. Like that happens a lot. Like we see that, and you get these like massive numbers in AAA by some of these guys because they're not facing those elite guys all the time. So I do, like, again, back to the point is I do worry that this is going to continue, that this ERA and because the success he's having is just out of this world. The average and the BABIP really kind of just gear me toward we're going to see a massive shift in his ERA, you know, going up as the season continues. I'd be severely shocked if we see even a 2.5 ERA at the end of the year, in my opinion. So that's all we've got for the breakout players. I'd love to hear y'all's opinion on Twitter. Hit us up about some other breakout players you've got. We'll give you our opinion, maybe even next show, or just, you know, just comment to you back on Twitter. So hit us up there. But let's move, keep the show rolling here, man. I'm on the wrong sheet. There we go. Injuries. So as I mentioned, I was crying. What fucker? What are you talking about? What are you watching?
I just checked out Fantrax and I'm now down 2-6-2 to Pico de Gallo, even though I fucking ate Mexican tonight. It's some bullshit.
That's
I was up at like
so boy Tyler Thompson, man.
I know. Damn you, Tyler.
I'm losing.
We're very close.
I'm losing to Garrett, and if you look at our matchup, you know how good my team is, right? You know, I have 2 home runs on the entire week so far. Would you believe that?
Mike Trout out.
Moustakas is out, but it's still. Dude, Acuna hasn't hit one yet. I've got one from. Who do I have one from? I have one from. I don't even know who my 2 home runs are from, but I'm just like, what is happening? This is crazy. He has like 12 as of Wednesday night. I was like, okay, sure. Thankfully, my pitching still is awesome, and I have like a 1.5 ERA. So, despite what forget who it was the other night got me like a 7.5 ERA, jerk. Doesn't matter.
Yes. So injuries. Let's discuss.
All right. Yeah. So as I was saying, I was crying a little bit last night writing this list out. Started with Marcell Ozuna. He's out at least 6 weeks with dislocated fingers. Awesome. Austin Hayes landed on the DL with yet another hamstring injury. This guy just needs to like do some yoga, man. I don't even know. Wade Miley out with a foot sprain. Zach Plesac is out with a thumb sprain. And I don't know if this is true, but apparently I heard he did it because he was like trying to play Hulk in the locker room or something, like ripped his shirt and like sprained his freaking thumb doing that. Like him and Yanoa need to like go up for like most bonehead injury of the year. Because remember, punched the wall, broke his hand or something. Like, guys, stop it.
Whatever. I mean, I get it. I've done probably both of these things, but I didn't sprain a damn thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm better at it.
I broke my I don't have a knuckle anymore. It's down here. Be on my pinky finger, my right hand, because after I lost a game of like 21 that I had like 20 points like 7 times, but I just like couldn't finish it out. Kept going back to 13 or whatever. And finally like lost and just walked up to the pads behind the backboard in the gym. I just walked up and like just kind of went like this to it. I didn't even hit it hard. All of a sudden I was just like, guys, I don't think I can play anymore. And they were all like you're fucking with me. And I was like, no, dude, like that's my finger right now. It's because my knuckle dropped and I couldn't. It was crazy. I was like, that was not. I just hit it at the right angle that like I just cracked the bone like right here, and it just lifted and my knuckle dropped. It was bizarre. So you and I both done it, but I actually got the broken hand from it. So yeah. Anyway, Franmil Reyes out 6 weeks with an oblique injury. He's been killing it. Wilson Ramos on the IL with a back sprain. I'm already tired of the talking injuries. Byron Buxton. I skipped one. I'll go back to it. He was already on the IL. We knew that, but trying to ramp up in rehab, and he's having issues running. Most importantly, most issues like slowing down, which is weird. I've never heard that one before. So he can like ramp up, but he can't slow down, and so that's delaying his like assignment to like games, right? I was like, only Byron Buxton, right? Like, geez.
Oh God! Somebody stop me!
He needs a parachute. Who knows?
What are you doing? That you have trouble slowing down.
I don't even know, man.
My freaking toddler could slow down.
I mean, I guess we got
over.
I guess when you've got a busted hamstring, you can't slow down, man. Like, can you imagine trying to like, if you've got like a half pulled hamstring, like trying to slow down, that hurts. I get it. I don't know.
Sure,
like,
but
why are you trying to run full speed if you've got a busted hamstring? That's what I don't understand.
Clearly, you're not ready to. You're not ready to slow yourself down.
Clearly, you're not ready to run.
Ramped up too freaking much.
It's just funny, man. I just had to mention that part. So then Kenta Maeda landed on the IL with a groin strain. He's been trashed this season, man. Like, it's just a shame what he's been doing. And then I'm going to finish off here. Let you continue the rest. My Crimea River story is Noah Syndergaard got an MRI on. The notes are old. So he got the MRI on his elbow after experiencing soreness in those latest rehab start. And if you read, somebody's tweeted out, I forget who it was. Somebody sent a tweet out about like his pitch in like the first inning and a half of the last game that he played in. And the last like 15 pitches were all considered change-ups because they were like 87, 86, 88, 87. No, those were fastballs. They were not good fastballs because his elbow has inflammation in it now, and he's now going to be out 6 more weeks at least.
Nice.
So there's a very good chance we don't see Syndergaard this season. And guess who my dumbass traded for in a dynasty league?
Would it be Lance McCullers? Is that the one you missed on the IL with a shoulder soreness? Or did you?
I did miss that one, but that is not who I traded for.
I know.
I know. Yes. So
I'm just trying to speed up and not slow down here. Okay.
I know. I'm having fun.
I'm Buxtoning things
just go
right now. All right.
Finish up.
So we've got Cory Kluber, Mr. No-Hitter, will now be shut down for at least 4 weeks with a shoulder strain. Something about these no-hitters. You already mentioned Wade Miley being out with a foot sprain, and he is expected back. That's why I jumped into Fantrax. Expected to return from the 10-day IL to start Sunday's game against the Cubs. Not really sure we want to do that because he got absolutely destroyed 2 games ago, and barely pitched 5 innings in his last start. So keep an eye on Miley. Kluber, again, though, not good news. Shoulder strain there will shut him down for 4 weeks. Luke Voigt is back on the IL with an oblique strain.
That one like came out of nowhere. I was literally looking through the injury list last night, and I was like, "What? Voigt's now hurt too? Like, good God, come on!"
Yeah,
just digging my team a grave, man. It's bad.
We've talked about obliques ad nauseum on the show, and that's probably going to be a little more than the 10-day stay.
Oh yeah, he's out for a while.
They might as well have like an IL 40 for obliques. I mean, it just why not make it
sounds about right.
Make it fun.
Make it fun. Nothing's fun about the IL.
Shut
up, AJ. Go.
That's true. All right. Now these next two just kick me in the dick multiple ways. From sideways, Bryce Harper. Thank you for going on the IL with forearm contusion. It doesn't sound like anything that will keep him out long term, but I had him in my lineup the other night and then realized after their game had started that I could not move him out of my lineup because somehow he wound up on the IL. It's like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah, that one was out of left field too. I was like, wait, Harper?
It was
like what?
Totally out of nowhere.
Some of these are just like popping. Like apparently, some of these teams are taking a page out of the Dodgers book. Man, I don't know what they're doing. Yeah. They're just like, you have a sore neck. Yeah, you just IL him.
Yeah, RotoWire dropped the news 3:16 on Tuesday that he was placed on the injured list with this forearm contusion. Now, granted, he's got not really anything worth a shit since.
Oh no, he's been bad.
We'll just say April, I guess. This year. No, he's got 7 homers. I'm just kidding, but he's just been abysmal the last couple of weeks, as it is, anyways. And he was dealing with other little ticky tack bullshit. Yeah. Standard for Harper, I feel like. The next one, JT Realmuto, is still in the IL with a wrist injury. Now, he is eligible to return on Friday, which would be tomorrow. So, no major movement for now. Trent Grisham is back on the IL with a foot contusion. Dylan Moore is out with a calf injury. Harrison Masturbator is on the IL with a rib fracture.
Can I say something about that?
The hope is he won't need to miss much longer than the 10 days. Good for his wrist. Kevin Biggio is out with cervical spine ligament sprain.
Yeah, sounds pretty terrible. Yeah, no, that's all I got. I didn't know the layman's term for that one.
I don't.
A broken neck. I don't know.
Men
what that means.
Have a cervix? Am I not knowing anatomy here? What is? I don't know what happened here.
Up here, dude.
I know.
God damn it.
Cheers, everybody.
Keep drinking. So I'm going to go back to the Harrison Beta one because he's another guy who's on my dynasty team. I literally turned on the Cardinals game the other night, and first pitch, other team hits the ball. I forget who they were playing. Hits it right to Harrison Bader. He dives for the ball. The ball rolls under his ribs, and he doesn't get up. And I went, what the hell? This was before Ozuna and Hayes and Voigt and everybody always playing the White Sox. Thank you, Jeff. This was before all those other guys went on the IL. So I'm going like, all right, I can manage a Bader injury, right? Like, that's fine. Then I get 7 more, it feels like, in the next 24 hours. And I'm going, nope. My team's dead for the next 2 months. I got nothing.
It doesn't end there. So
I know.
Taiwan Walker is actually expected. He's eligible to return tomorrow from the 10-day IL. So that is good. He's listed as the starter for tomorrow against Atlanta. Again, buyer beware. We have someone that multiple people that I had just picked up in Fantrax. Ahmad Rosario did not play. I thought he didn't play the other day, but maybe it looks like he actually did. He was scratched from the lineup for Thursday's game today against the Tigers due to a right hand contusion. But it looks like he did play.
You're the only one that cares about Ahmad Rosario. I'm not going to lie.
True. All right. We're done with him. Garrett Cooper.
Yeah.
Is another one who is now eligible to return tomorrow, but he was removed from Wednesday's lineup with right oblique tightness. Great. Another guy picked up in both of my leagues yesterday to build some stock, and he did not play.
Hang on.
He did get in the game today.
I was going to say he played today.
He got an
RBI, so I think he's fine. So I think he's fine. Either that or they're doing stupid stuff like they do with like Masakis, where like, just pinch hit for us because it's National League and they have to swap guys in and out all the time because they have no DH because they're dumb.
Exactly.
So yeah. Anyway.
And the last guy I got here.
That's why they put him in there because I thought he was good.
Yeah, is Kikuchi. He was able to play catch without issues before Tuesday's game. He's expected to make his next start, which should come this Sunday. He pitched Monday, still made it through. He left the game a little early because of cramping in his lower back, but he made it through 6 innings, only gave up 4 hits. He got the win. Still a solid outing of 20 points, so thank you for that. I think that's all I got.
All right. Let's move on here to our last segment of the night and some players to add. And like I'm going to cheat a little bit this one. And his overall ownership percentage is 64%, but only 58% owned in Yahoo. So I'm going to count this one. And it's Anthony Santander. Came back from the IL. Excuse me. Came back from the IL, and I know like he struggled hard before the IL stint, but since his return, it's only been a few games. He's batted .385. He's got a home run. He's got 3 runs and 3 RBI already. This guy hit 11 home runs in only 37 games last year. Hit 20 in just 93 games in 2019. If this guy's available in your league, you got to go get him. Like he's going to be productive. Even in a bad Baltimore offense, him and Mancini are going to be good. Hopefully Mancini is healthy because he got hit by a pitch tonight. I forgot to mention that. So hopefully his wrist is doing all right. So I'll do the next couple, AJ, and then you can take the last few here. So Mandy Margot, look, this guy's still severely under rostered. I've got him in the Fantasy 6-pack league. And I get it. It's frustrating because he doesn't play every day, but he plays most days. But 35%? I mean, this guy's
pretty low.
Over the last 15, he's batted .302, got a home run, he's got 2 steals, and 12 RBI. Like, this guy's productive, man. And, like, in a day and age where we need steals, and you mentioned that earlier, like, this guy's super valuable. Because he's a little power speed combo guy. So, he's not as bad as he's been overall this season. He's going to pick it up. And in fact, that Rays offense in general has picked things up over the last few weeks, at last week or so, even so I think Margot is going to be, and we've seen it over the last 2 weeks. He's been more productive. That offense has been more productive. I think we're going to see that continue. Next guy here is Jock Peterson for me. He has been miserable to start the year. And he was a guy that we talked about in one of our draft shows as a sort of a sleeper pick, and a miserable start, but he's played well over the last couple of weeks. Over the last 48 at bats, he's 313, 3 home runs, 6 runs, and 7 RBI. We know this guy's got power galore in his bat. So I could see him go on a huge tear here and just and just, continue to smash here. And I'll finish off here with Josh Fuentes. Like maybe this is like a flash in the pan type of thing, but I think he hit like over 500 last week. But over the last 2 weeks total, he's 409, 2 bombs, and 15 RBI. I mean, look, tons of injuries in this game right now. Pick up somebody like Fuentes and just ride the hot hand until you guys come back. Like there's no reason to just sit on nothing. Or pick up these guys who you think should be good, but maybe they're not performing. Just go get the guys that are performing, like Fuentes, and just get it done while you're waiting for your studs to come back from the IL. So I'll let you finish off here, man.
Giddy up, 409 is where I'll start this. And I was going to put Garrett Cooper, Mr. DTD, until 2D. Yeah. I mean, he's been crushing it lately too. He's been very productive. He's got at least one hit in every game he's played in since May 14th. May 13th was he did not have a hit, but he randomly had a run. So yeah, he's good. He's playing well. Miami, not very good, but somehow he is. Juan Legaris is another one that I picked up because of the Trout injury. This one's kind of a flash in the pan sort of a deal right now too, to see what he's going to be able to do, but he's getting at bats being in the Angels outfield there. He's got a hit in almost every game that he's played in, aside from 3 since 5/17. So, a handful of runs, no homers, but that's because he's Juan Legaris. A handful of RBIs. So, yeah, I mean, if you were a Trout owner and looking for a plug and play, he might be a guy that you could go after. Getting back to our list, we've got Jonathan VR. We mentioned him last week. Still just owned in only 31% of leagues. Still pretty low, and I'm not really sure what else this guy needs to do. He's got 3 homers, 4 steals, and 7 runs over the last 2 weeks. I mean, that's production from
the Mets offense is bad, but like he hasn't been. I mean, besides batting average, he hasn't been bad. Like I guarantee you're dealing with worse on your roster. Like, figure it out, go get it.
Average,
somebody is in your 12-team league
somewhere else.
I picked him up in our league because I was dying at second base at one point. I was like, and then I was like, wait,
second base eligibility alone
and 4 steals. Thanks, I'll take it.
Is phenomenal. So, and he's probably outplaying his teammate, Mr. Francisco Lindor, first round.
Yes, unfortunately, he is.
Casey Mize, 3.42 ERA, 112 WHIP on the season, thanks to the 169 and 0.8 WHIP in his last 3 starts. I'd like to see a little bit more in the Ks, but he's only got 17 in the last 20 pitched. But overall, he's pitching well, and it's worth looking at. Michael Fulmer is his teammate, correct? He has officially taken over the closer role in Detroit. Again, Detroit kind of sucks, so there might not be a ton of save opportunities, but closers are closers. And, he's really taken to this role. I mean, he's a former starter who had some success and then completely fell off. But he's really taken to this role as as more of a high leverage reliever. And he did start 1, maybe 2 games a few weeks ago. And it was kind of meh, but they've put him back in the bullpen and he's succeeded again. So, He hasn't allowed a run in the last 9 appearances. So
some of them are multi-inning appearances, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's been great. I was doing this like 5 minutes before the show, it felt like. So I didn't add up all the innings, but I was just like, it's 9 appearances. Good enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of them are like 3.2 innings. Some of them are like 2.1. And I was just like, all right, good enough for me, man. But yeah, some of them are multi-inning appearances. And the fact that he didn't allow a run since, the last 9. that's top notch.
Exactly. And the other thing I will mention with him is that he is starter reliever eligible. So if you're in a league that breaks out starters and relievers, like myself, that's great because you can just plug him in as a starter role and have a closer. So
yeah,
I'll let you go ahead and finish things out here with Mr. Austin Gomber.
Yeah, so this is sort of a funny one, actually. I mean, it's not funny, but like it's for real. Like, pick this guy up. Like, he's been good, right? The big joke, of course, on Twitter for a few weeks ago, was the week of April 26th. He was pretty low owned in NFBC leagues, and everybody went out and grabbed him. It was a 2-pitch starter that week, and so everybody went out and got him. Thought they were going to get good stats from him. He got absolutely smashed in that first game. 9 earned runs in 2 2/3 innings. So just smoked, like a 48 ERA or something crazy like that. I saw, like, so everybody was just the term "you got Gombered" like came to fruition. Like it was like this, oh my gosh. And so anyway, besides that, this dude's been incredible, and I get it. He's a Rockies pitcher. It's hard to trust Rockies pitchers. I don't like to take a lot of them on. I take maybe one every few years because they're on a hot streak. Gomber would be one of those guys. So that if he's available right now, I think I would go at him. His last 3 starts, last 3 starts, he's only allowed 3 total earned runs. 1 was 0, 1 was 1, 1 was 2. 2 of those starts were against San Diego, who seems to crush everybody right now. So, I get it. We want to be careful with these Rockies pitchers, especially when they pitch at home. He's got a pretty good ERA at home right now. His road ERA is worse thanks to that blow-up game. So I think on the road, I'm definitely starting him right now, despite the blow-up game. At home, I might pick and choose my opponents with him if I can. But he's somebody that I'm definitely interested in rostering in leagues if he is out there available for me. So just try not to do Goldberg and pitch him against the Dodgers in Colorado, because you're probably going to get smashed. So,
but what if they dodgered the pitcher that was supposed to pitch, and then Goldberg decides to not get Goldberg? I mean, we're gonna have a dodgered versus
they would have to
matchup?
they would have to dodger the entire offense for him not to get Goldberg. So yeah,
I mean, I don't know, man.
We're using a lot of crazy terms right now, man.
There's been a lot of games against LA where I've not wanted to pitch my pitcher, and then they just end up showing up and having a pretty good game.
And it's gonna happen occasionally, but typically you don't want to play the Dodgers.
But then who dodgered who? The Dodgers dodgered the opponents.
Oh man! All right,
fucking horseshit.
Okay. All right, man. All right. That's all we've got for the show. AJ, any final thoughts? About dodgering? Maybe. No.
No.
We're good.
I think I'm
all
good.
Right. That's all for the show, folks. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to y'all next week. Peace.